Hey there, Dave here, along with Chris and Jordan. Welcome to Dumb Money. We are Dumb Money, and we're doing this every single day now. We've been doing it just to Twitter and now to YouTube, and we decided, you know what? If we're going to do this, we might as well just be on YouTube too. So we're going to just test out, make sure we don't screw up the algorithm too much by randomly jumping on and doing live shows on YouTube, because you never know. But if you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button, because that's the way you let YouTube know that you're watching and that this is good. And if you're on Twitter, tap those little heart buttons. If you're on Facebook, I think that's a thumbs up as well. Look at this. Our view count is ramping right up. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in to an impromptu little episode of Dumb Money Live. Chris is having technical difficulties this morning, but he is now on, and Jordan is on his patio from vacation in Estes Park, Colorado, and there is an elk in the background that
yeah, he walked over, so I think he's I don't know if you can see him. We've named him.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
He's just been hanging out. He moved in a couple days ago. We think he found his forever home. We named him Buddy the Elk.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
My dog saw that on the screen and started freaking out.
Have you guys?
Hey, it's all just on TV. Come here.
Have you guys been trading? Have you been following the airline stimulus tweet storm this morning? I've been trading it.
Yes, I've been following it, but I have not been trading it, because last time I traded a tweet storm, it cost me $20,000.
Well, Dave,
how did it go for you this morning?
I am trying to make up the $175,000 that last fast trade cost us 2 days ago, and I'm pretty pumped, dude. I just nailed it this morning. I mean, I nailed it, dude. This is, I don't normally do this fast trade stuff, but I did it this morning. So, Pelosi was in her meeting, right? No, she was not in a meeting. Pelosi was doing her press conference. As soon as I got the tweet saying that she was doing a press conference, I immediately was like,
over the press conference.
It's on. It's on. I'm doing this. I had my trade screen up. I had the trade ready to go on American Airlines. Okay. All I was trading was that airline trade. I was going to buy puts or calls based on what was announced. And the goal here is to get like a 15-second, maybe 20-second edge on other traders on this, because you're following the right Twitter account and you're just getting that information a little bit quicker, and your mind is prepared with exactly the trade you're going to make. So the very moment that news is announced, not by a Bloomberg, but literally through a single Twitter account, you might get a 2-second edge there. Because you're prepared, you might get a few seconds there, right? And you just a few seconds here, a few seconds there is all you really need, dude. And like, it doesn't seem like it should work in 2020, but if you know how institutions trade on this stuff, they're not that quick when it comes to interpretable data, right? Like, when it comes to one-off data that they don't have a history of trading, there needs to be a little bit more time from interpretation. Yeah. And you could get an edge on that.
They're not going to be in a position to just say, oh, well, we're just going to go super short on the entire SPY, right? Like you are.
That's exactly right. So, like, and by the way,
say, I heard the word airline, I heard no deal, and what I'm going to do is, short American.
Yeah, I knew what I was going to do, right? So, and that was it, Dave. So I saw the tweet come in, and I was tracking multiple Twitter accounts that have all done a pretty good job over the last few days, being really early. Like, they're at the press conference, they're racing with each other to get this news out first. Like, and one comes out a few seconds after the later, so you got to check all of them. I think it was this one that broke it for me this morning. It was Breaking Market News, which is at
You've been
Breaking
all over that.
MKTS. It was, here it is. Here's the tweet. I took a photo of it, right? I don't know if you can, you probably can't see the tweet, but it's Pelosi says there is no standalone airline deal without a comprehensive COVID relief bill. Honestly, I was not expecting that. I honestly had the screen loaded up to buy calls on American.
Really?
So I had to like quickly get rid of that screen. I bought initially 1,000 puts, bought another 1,000 puts on top of that. So I bought 2,000 American Airlines $13 puts. At the time, the stock was still up, I want to say about 18 to 26 cents ish. Okay. As we all know now, the stock dropped not quickly, guys. It didn't drop quickly. Like I was so stunned at how slow. It took about 25 seconds, I think, before CNBC reported it on the air. Okay. Yeah. And then about another 25 seconds until the stock had kind of come close to where it ended up bottoming out. So it was almost a full minute. A full minute. My mind was blown how slow the market was to trade on this news. I ended up getting out of half my position. I felt like I wanted to hold on to the other half, and I shouldn't. I wish I would have gotten rid of the entire position at once, but I ended up still making money on both the exits. I made $20,000 on that trade this morning. Nowhere near, you know, the 175 I lost the other day on that quick trade that I held overnight. But this truly was a quick trade. It cost me, I think, about 30,000. So I turned 30,000 into 50,000. And I should have, quite honestly, have turned 30,000 into like 65,000 if I would have just exited the full position when I exited half of it. But I was kind of proud of myself because, you know, like I wanted to get a fast trade in that was profitable. This one was beautiful because it was pure. It was pure. Okay. There was no unlike the other day, there's no interpretation of this. It was very pure. I should have really exited the full thing as soon as it was digested, which would have taken a few minutes. Like a few minutes later, it was obviously fully digested. If I would have stuck by my own rules, I would have completely exited. I didn't. Bad on me. But still, it felt good, man. It's like my account's probably, I don't know, still, it was down this morning regardless. I don't know if it's back up now because the market is. But this news is not now. Yeah, now it's down. But this is so confusing.
The market was high. It was up for the day, and then that news came out and it went negative, and now it's back positive again. So like the swing that happened is if you're properly positioned and can jump in and out at the right time, you made money. Well, I wasn't. I was dealing with customer service issues in the online store.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Here's the thing, guys. It's really confusing, this market, because you really don't know who to believe or what to believe or how much is political speak at this point, how much is real. Because like within minutes of her saying that, she came out and then said that she would consider a separate bill, which is insane as long as the separate bill comes with commitments of a larger bill, like a kind of a good word that, and I think that's her way of basically saying she's going to get that deal done. But she wants to kind of save face, and then she's going to say, well, they committed to this, and then they pulled back because a bigger deal is not really getting done. It might in the House, but do you guys think that the senators are going to pass the big bill? No way.
No. But they want to give some hope.
This is a way to just get some money in the hands of people that actually need it, hopefully, and kind of save face, like you were saying.
But it's just airlines. It's
piecemeal, and that's why they're airlines.
I thought it was the airlines, and there was like a small paycheck
that's what Trump said. Trump said, "We'll do if you'll let us like notch off just the airlines and sending everyone a check, and you vote for me, then I'll mail you a check or whatever." But then the Democrats are like, "No, wait a minute. We need to have this be a part of an actual comprehensive package, not just another one-off check that isn't a part of the integrated package."
Jordan, only
within a matter of minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, only the president was talking about that check. No one else mentioned that. That was literally him. Okay,
basically the concept here is the Fed is already they've already created the money, right? We've got money that's available to be pushed around. It's just that Congress hasn't released it to haven't put together a package, right? And so, yeah.
I don't know, man.
Moving so fast this morning, Chris. When you were doing this, it was 28 minutes ago now. But the tweet that you saw was Pelosi says any aid bill for airlines does not have to happen at the same time as a bigger COVID deal. Then Pelosi says airlines are a national security issue, not just jobs. Then, I mean, this account within a minute tweeted like 8 different times. House Speaker Pelosi, any aid bill for airlines does not need to happen at the same time as a bigger COVID bill.
Why, Dave?
McConnell
Why can't
says
someone?
We should continue stimulus talks. Try for a deal. Nobody wants to walk away. Pelosi says she believes. I mean, if you like to have alerts just blowing up your phone, this is an account to subscribe to. This breaking market news. But
by the way,
like last night during the debate, so it's breaking MKTS. That's where you can find it. During the debate, it was going off. Like I love alerts. But my Twitter alerts are just way too active, and this account is difficult. So unless I'm just like sitting at a computer going, okay, I'm going to make some trades today, I don't think I can even leave alerts turned on for this account.
I kind of have to when I'm doing this stuff. Otherwise, no way, right? There's no way I would have it turned on. It would drive me insane.
Well, and that's why I wasn't trading this because I was not doing it, and so I wasn't going to just artificially listen to all of these tweets.
But here's what's so cool is like there are certain binary trades that are out there, right? And this is one of them that there was just no way. I'm sorry, I'm going to try to fix my camera. There's just no way that she was going to say something negative about the airline bill and the airlines weren't going to go down. It was just a matter of how much they go down, right? So how often do you have ability to place a binary trade on new information, meaning not something that's repetitive, where kind of the quants already have their language algos able to quickly trade on, where you could fast trade the world. I mean, just by following the right Twitter account. And by the way, why don't we get a live stream of that interview? They have it on C-SPAN. They didn't have it on CNBC. Like, why can't I why do I need to 2020? Why do I need tweets? Just show me what she's saying. Right?
Yeah. No, I don't know why that was not being carried somewhere live.
But
and
that's
like you were
kind
saying
of
earlier,
the
breaking news on CNBC is 30 seconds behind what you can get on Twitter, and Twitter is 10 seconds behind someone actually having to type the tweet out in all caps and hit send. So it's like it would be so much better if you could get real time. But my streaming service, I've noticed that my streaming service is probably buffered 30 seconds behind real time too. So there's a whole minute going on before I get news on CNBC. So I can't actively trade that.
Dude, Dave, I'm no joke. If we can figure out how to do it, like I would pay to have a reporter there just sending a live stream to us and the Dumb Money community, right? Like we should all pitch in.
If we sent someone with just an iPhone to cover that story live, we could absolutely stream it and comment on it.
Totally. I'm just blown away. That's 2020 and information that is connected to markets this deeply. I started following a new guy on Twitter this morning, and he had a rant on some, I don't know, MSNBC or something like that. He's a political analyst, and he went on this rant about Wall Street and how unbelievably dumb Wall Street was for not understanding how legislation works. And like he's like, you would think with all the hundreds of billions of dollars they're managing and trading based on this news in DC right now, that they would come up here and actually talk to the senators and talk to the Congress people to see what they really think and what they're really doing, because it's all BS. He's like, even if this thing were to get passed, he's like, they've been saying the same stuff since June. Even if this were to get passed in the House, he's like, no way are the senators, Republican senators this close to the election, going to pass this thing. They're not going to pass it, even if it passes the House. He's like, so it's really interesting to get that perspective from someone that's just purely politically focused, not on Wall Street, but just analyzing the politics of it. He might have been Politico. Well, I thought it was fascinating. Anyway, what happens? What do you think happens now with this?
With the stimulus?
We're just in
Yeah.
back and
What do you
forth.
think happens with airlines and stimulus? Like the airline bill standalone.
I could see them getting the airline bill done, and I
Yes.
could see them getting a small PPP section done.
Like the single check,
yeah.
Jordan, the single.
Right.
Really? Okay. I think that's possible. I think what's more likely is airline only. Maybe an airline plus a small PPE. That's fine. I maybe see that happening. Maybe. But don't you think the Democrats win the less they get done, right? Going into the election, and then they try to sew this up afterwards?
I think well, you've only got a month, right? So if you could just get that one check out, maybe that's enough goodwill. That's all they really need, right? And then they just promise that they're going to do something post-election.
Yeah, but don't you think Trump suffers worse if they get nothing done or very little to nothing done, because it's still on his shoulders? He's the one that ended it. He ended the negotiations, like formally ended the
negotiations for a few hours before saying, "Just kidding."
Yeah,
I think everybody looks bad. I think they all look bad. I don't know who gets hurt worse. I think they're all ridiculous.
Well, okay, let's talk.
So we called this episode and Ask Me Anything, and so far we have not responded to a single question, but we have a ton of people online asking us questions right now. So I just want to start going through some of these. Okay.
All right, fine. And I'm pulling up Discord questions too, because we have like 100 questions on Ask Dumb Money on Discord that we have not answered. So I'm going to go the oldest one that we have, and so we'll rotate some of those in here too. If that's
absolutely. Cool. And just want to say that the first comment I'm seeing on the screen here is that Brian thinks that my dog is the highlight of the show so far. So maybe we can add another box and get her on the screen too.
Even more so than Buddy the elk.
That's Chris, how are you picking strike prices and expirations on these speed trades that you've been doing?
Okay, great question. I'm not overthinking it. I'm purchasing strikes that are pretty much right at the money or slightly in the money. I don't want to get too speculative on big moves, because even if I have a high conviction directionally that this move will be directionally positive or negative for the stock based on the information I'm trading, that's a lot easier than determining how big that move is going to be. So I don't want to have to speculate on two things. I don't have to really want to speculate on anything when it comes to these fast trades. So once I heard that information, I knew AAL was going down. How much was it going down? I have no idea. So I bought the 13s. The stock was barely above 13. And so this is a little more speculative than normal. But I felt it was going to be a really short trade. And since I was only going to be in it for like a few minutes to like 30 minutes at most, I wasn't going to lose that much premium on it. And as long as directionally moving in that direction, I knew it was close enough to 13 that I'd be okay. So I'm not overthinking it, guys. I'm just doing it right at the money.
Yeah.
320 people were watching at the time of this tweet and only 24 likes. Come on, guys, get those likes going. We have, what I can see on this one service is 700 plus people watching now. More comments about the dog. That was a real winner for the show, I guess.
Can we switch off? And I want to read some from Discord, because I feel really guilty about not answering these Discord questions.
Go for it. I can't put those on the screen. Go for it.
That's okay. I'm going to read it. Fairly new to active trading as well as social arb trading. Love the idea. This is from Bori. I was wondering how you try and determine if there is parity, like when the market has caught up, what we call information parity. Like we invest when there's an information imbalance, and we exit when there's parity. In the case of this morning, because that's the most recent trade, right? Parity happened pretty much when CNBC spoke about it, and give it like another 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and then everybody trades on it. So that was really simple. It's not always that easy, though, because sometimes information parity, like the container store trade that we're in, like that's not a black and white event. Like I think we're mostly at information parity on that container store trade, but because it's a small company, there's been a few articles. Is all of Wall Street talking about the container store and the Home Edit Netflix show? Not really. I mean, so like I exited about half my trade. I exited all my options. I exited a little bit of my equity in Container Store. I'll probably exit another 25% this next week. And then I'll hold half my equity maybe for earnings, when that will be the ultimate information period event, when they have earnings and the company says, hopefully, hey, this show, the home edit, really like doubled our store traffic this quarter, and we're crushing it. And by the way, it's not temporary. We're still crushing it. We're going to raise our guidance next quarter. So like that's the ultimate information period event, when a company comes out and basically confirms what you thought was true previously. You got one, Dave?
Here's a question. I've never invested in anything ever, and I'm getting $200 of extra cash. What should I do with it? These are the kind of questions that we can't really answer because we're not financial advisors. And if you have $200 and you're wanting to invest in the market, to me, back when I was doing my initial learning stage investing, I lost all of the money that I invested in speculative investments. So, I mean, do what a financial advisor would say, and go with a nice indexed, like a nice index ETF with low fees that mirrors the market, and you can't go wrong.
But don't do it because Dave's saying it. I mean, the bottom line is
because that's what I heard a lot of other financial advisors say.
But Dave, we don't know that person's financial risk profile, and we don't know what their goals are. So without knowing your particular goals and your risk profile, even if we were financial advisors, which we're not, we wouldn't be able to answer that question, guys. So please don't ask questions like that that are about you, because we just have no way to answer them. Sorry.
And that's why I wanted to address that question, so that we can avoid future questions about what should I do with a specific, stock or money or strike price, or, we can't tell you what to do. We can just tell you how we think.
Yeah.
Hal here says that he got locked out of day trading because the SPY trades last time. I don't think I've ever been flagged as a actual day trader. I know that can happen if you hit a certain number of trades and that sort of thing, but I don't day trade. Chris doesn't day trade except for when he's doing these kind of trades, but he's not doing it so frequently and for a long enough period of time to actually trigger that sort of thing. You want to know why I have 15 iPhones on my desk? That is actually a great question. This is the box for every iPhone ever made, because I've had every iPhone ever made. We are going to be live streaming the Apple event that is happening this Tuesday, and we're going to do it live, and we're going to react to it, and we're going to tell you our thoughts. We're expecting to see the iPhone 12. We don't know what other things Apple may have up their sleeve, but we're going to give you our perspective from the investor standpoint. Between us, we have millions of dollars invested in Apple. I know that it's my probably second biggest holding. You guys probably know better than I do. I reveal my portfolio more often than I look at it myself. But in addition to just doing that, the reason these are on my desk is yesterday I was filming a little promo for something that we're going to do on our Twitter account. We're going to have one, just like we did with Peloton, where when Peloton traded up after hours during their earnings, we gave away a free Peloton bike. We're going to give away an iPhone 12, assuming that Apple releases an iPhone 12 and the stock actually moves up during the event. So it's going to happen during market hours. So the price is going to be moving, but if it's trading higher during the event, we are giving away a phone to someone, and you have to follow us on Twitter and retweet the tweet that will be going out very soon as they finish editing the masterpiece that we filmed yesterday.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, man. Like we're giving away an iPhone 12 as long as Apple goes up like 1 penny. So follow the Dumb Money TV Twitter, because like that's going to go out. That tweet will go out today. You got to retweet it and follow our YouTube channel. Someone asked about Regeneron. I don't know a lot about that company, guys, but if you will follow my tweets, I did double down on it last night after hours. I sold my double down this morning, and the reason why I sold it, I just don't know enough about the company, about their ability to scale the product. But I felt that, when the president of the United States is saying, hey, this cured me, then he's inferring that he's going to give it out to everybody for free, which means he's paying for it. that's kind of a, I felt like that was a nice little, again, quick social arb trade just on that announcement last night. I was on it really quickly. I exited this morning. I still own my 1,000 share of Regeneron, and I don't know how long I'll keep it. We just haven't done a lot of work on the stock. And I think it would be a more powerful trade if the president had momentum going into the election, which he doesn't right now. So it's like, I think to a certain extent, whatever he says, people are like, okay, well, but if you're not president in 3 weeks, like, is the new administration going to carry through with that? Are you going to carry through with that if you lose the election? Or because that's more of an election promise thing, right? It's like So
if
that's
you lose
the
the
issue.
election, do you have enough money to buy everyone the drug that you promised you'd give them?
I know, but so I'm not like super hyped on that. It was a short social arb trade. I still do have some of it. I could sell it at any moment. I don't even know.
Chris, we saw that Vista Outdoors, one of your other big holdings, was down today. Ruger as well. Is this a buy the dip kind of opportunity, or what are you thinking about these companies?
So, Dave, if you didn't have me get on this live stream, one of the things I was planning on doing was trying to figure out why it's down today. I know some of the gun stocks are down as well. Maybe if you guys in the comments, if you've seen anything, I'm looking it up right now. I actually don't know why there's a small pullback in these stocks that are kind of, ammo, gun stocks. Doesn't look like anyone else knows. I'm on stock
Do you
Twitch
think it
right
has
now.
anything to do with the debates last night? That maybe people think that Pence did better, and so that's kind of like
maybe,
trade.
Maybe. And no, wait. This is what I was looking for: new FBI background checks. I'm assuming that was not as positive as people anticipated. It says more in 9 months of 2020 than all of 2019. Should be good news. So it looks like maybe FBI, I got to look up FBI background checks to see if they came out today. Because if they did, maybe they just weren't as robust as people expected them to be. I'm going to look that up right now. FBI background. But guys, here's the deal. If it was based on the debates last night, I would me personally, I might buy more Vista today. If that's what I find out. Because I don't think that debate last night is going to be a deal changer for the election. Let's see. No. FBI background checks for gun sales have hit an annual record already fueled by COVID-19. I'm not seeing anything like in the last 24 hours other than like Florida background check surge, it looks like. Pump, that was just reported an hour ago. But again, when people say they surge, people are assuming they're going to go up now every month. So if they don't go up as much as people anticipate, that's actually bad news. So I'm looking them up right now. I have a little chart here. And September is up, but it's kind of on a down slope. So it's probably just a little less impressive. That does not bother me. And here's why, guys. From what I understand, the last few months of gun sales have been so robust that there's actually not enough inventory. So that's why it's not due to lack of demand, it's due to lack of inventory. Now, I do have some gun stocks, but I mostly have the ammo stock, Vista Outdoors, when they benefit regardless, right? So they're benefiting because ammo, as you know, if you're following this sector, you just literally cannot buy it. It's selling for 50, 60, 70, 80% higher than normal, and it's backlog. So I like Vista here. In fact, you know what, guys? I already have a ridiculously high amount of Vista Outdoors. I am going to add I'll add 5,000 shares. I'll add 5,000 shares right this second to my Vista Outdoors. Let's get it in here. Now I have 100, if it goes through, and it does not. it's going through slowly. These market makers, I'll just give them what they want. Fine, it's done. So I just bought 5,000 more. So I have 105,000 shares of Vista. I was hoping it would kind of dip here a little bit, quite honestly, because I still want to have a little bit more Vista. Guys, I'm going to look here at the Discord for questions too.
Yeah, Yeah, we have
someone.
so many questions. It's just hard to filter through and find what to put on.
Someone said, this is an interesting question. If there was no capital gain taxes or any extra taxes on trading, would you trade any differently? What do you guys think? Would you trade differently?
Yes, 100%.
How?
I wouldn't feel the need to hold a position an extra month or two, waiting for that long-term capital gain.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big difference, right? It's like that could be like half of your profit on certain trades.
I'd like to think that it doesn't really affect me too much, but I know that even just the other day, Chris, you were doing some active trades in your retirement account because you knew that was where your tax advantage would be on this quick in and out kind of play.
Yeah,
it definitely factors into kind of your mindset, your psychology of trading, even though you don't want it to. But it does.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jordan. Same thing. It would impact me in the last few months of a trade when I'm holding on for those long-term gains. That's really when it matters most. Johnny Kalani is asking, when are you exiting Generac? Are you guys in Generac too, or is it just me? Jordan, you're in, right?
What, Generac?
Yeah.
No.
You're not? Okay, so good question on Generac. I am not exiting Generac yet. I just have to spend some time to see if there continues to be what I consider information kind of disparity there. I still don't think the market fully appreciates the I don't want to call it, it's a generational boom in generator demand. It really is. I mean, we talked about it on a couple of our YouTube shows. I think information saturation is getting closer every day. I will exit the trade probably at some point, I would imagine, this winter when we reach saturation, but we're not. I don't think we're there yet. And remember when we found out that it looks like they're going to sell, they're doubling their capacity and they're going to sell, or they're adding a new manufacturing line and they're going to sell every single thing they can, at least until like the end of the year or early next year. It's absolutely insane, the amount of demand on Generac. I don't know how they lose in this environment. I really don't. Unless we don't have many winter storms this winter, and that would be a net negative for them. But guys, in this type of an environment where we're sheltering in place, people want to feel secure in their home. They want to feel that if the electricity goes out due to a blizzard, right, or a snowstorm or an ice storm this winter, that they have the ability to stay in their home, especially if they have someone who's in a high risk category, who is of age, or who has pre-existing conditions. That's really important. And I think the market doesn't really fully appreciate that's a tailwind, right, on Generac sales that will continue at least through December, January, right? So I'm likely to hold in until the market fully appreciates it.
Hey, Chris, this is interesting. Nancy Pelosi apparently did live stream her press conference on Twitter. She live streamed it on Twitter. Yes.
You got to be kidding me. I follow her account for that, and I didn't even check it.
You're not alerted to it.
But it says beginning. I need to get her account on alert.
What is this? It happened at 9:57 a.m. our time.
Did it really? Was it actually live, or are they just kind of putting it after the fact?
No, it was live.
Wow.
There's the beginning shortly screen that they played at the beginning.
It doesn't bother me because I got the information within a second or two. But in the future, I'm now going to get alerts from Nancy Pelosi to get those live streams.
Thanks, Danny, for the tip.
You can't. That's who sent that to us.
That was Danny.
Thanks,
Ofer?
Danny. Appreciate it. That's really good info. Really, really good info. Let's take a look here, guys. I'm going to read. Let's see here.
Chris, in your quick social arb trades, do you trade the stock or the options? And trading options, how far out do you usually go in your trades?
It depends. If it's a super liquid stock that has a high liquidity with options, I'll often trade options as well, like I did with American Airlines today. But if not, sometimes it's easier just to trade equity, especially if it's a smaller mid cap, because you don't get screwed with liquidity and spreads on options when you're coming in and out of them in a short period of time. The expiration is all about the window, the trade window for information parity. If you think there's going to be information parity within 5 minutes, which is exactly what I thought this morning with American Airlines, then I'm going to trade the options that expire tomorrow. That's what I did. I traded options that expired tomorrow. If you think the information is not going to come out for another week or 2 weeks or a month, then I'm going to get options that expire closer to the, assumed information parity event. Something that we talked about recently is I used to purchase options after the information parity event when I expected that to be, because I want to make sure I held those options through. But these days, it seems like Wall Street is pretty good, especially on product info arb or social arb events, in getting information before it becomes fully realized and expressed by the company, like at an earnings event, because they're tracking credit card data. So often now, if I'm trading options in a company that sells product that's on trend, like let's just call it Crocs, for example, and I think that Wall Street will probably get that information that sales were up days to a week prior to earnings because they're tracking credit card data. It might be later than I get my information by analyzing social conversations, but it's still earlier than the actual earnings event. So in those cases, I'll often buy options that expire before earnings. Therefore, there's less premium on the options. You could actually save money on the options. And as long as Wall Street does indeed see that data, they will pump the stock up or sell it off, whichever way you're playing it, prior to earnings. You can get out of the trade before earnings and saved a lot of money on premium, which adds an incredible amount to your trade win. So it really just depends. I don't know, it really depends on the trade. Dave, I have a question for you, I think, because you're all about this stuff. And Jordan, maybe you too. I'm not. I don't think about this as much. Some Big Roo 42 on Discord. Do you ever think of converting your IRA to Roth? And I know, Dave, this is really mostly for you, but hold on. Yeah. Then placing your highest conviction trades in there, it would have been nice to turn 1.1 million into 3.3 this year, all tax-free. Obviously, you have to bite the bullet on the tax hit this year. Let's talk about this, because Dave, you've spent so much time thinking about this.
I did, and I wish I had come prepared for it, because I had spreadsheets and charts and graphs to show what the tax hit would be versus the returns and that sort of thing. I am so close to pulling the trigger and doing that. So basically, if you haven't heard about how this would work or thought about it much, if you have a Roth IRA, that is the kind of IRA that the money in it just you can keep reinvesting and all of your gains grow tax-free, because the money in that account you've already paid taxes on. A traditional IRA, you put money, you get to save on your current taxes by putting money in, and you deduct that money from your current taxes. But as that money grows, when you take it out, you have to pay your taxes at the end. Traditional IRA. Roth IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on the money at the end, because you paid taxes on the money when you went into it. Now, there is a way to convert a traditional to a Roth by basically paying the tax bill. When you move it over, you pay the tax bill at whatever tax rate you're in at the time, which if we have higher taxes, this might be the trigger point to actually pull the trigger before those tax rates go up. But basically, you have this huge tax hit because you're paying taxes on the entire amount. But moving over now, if you're earlier in your life, like when I was doing the math, it was almost hard to justify, because I'm 45, and by the time I'm retired already. It's not like I need to do withdrawals, but it would be really nice to have all of my trading going on in a tax-free account. It really depends on your expected gains, and there's online calculators you can use. You can go put in how much you have, how much it'll show you how much your tax bill would be today. You estimate what you think your tax rate would be in the future, and it can graph, like if you have an average 5% return or a 10% return or a 20% return, the bigger your return, the better off you are by doing it early, right? And if you're not able to achieve an 8% return, it may not make sense. So it's just a really complicated math problem, really. And you know, right now I'm in a tax bracket that I'm paying the highest taxes anyway, and so I was just kind of hoping for a year that I didn't have a lot of taxes, and then I would try to do it a little bit at a time. But if it looks like we're going to have the capital gains tax increase in the future, it might make sense to just do it. It's going to be a ton of taxes, but I might actually do that. So I'm
Dave,
still
someone's saying that not everyone can own a Roth IRA based on income. Too much income, you can't do a Roth IRA. I didn't think that was true. I thought there might be some limitations.
There are definitely limitations. I think it's limitations on how much you can contribute, but the being able to move money from a traditional to a Roth is possible because you qualified for it at the time that you put the money into the traditional. I have not put $1 into an IRA since I had a W-2 income kind of job, right? I just haven't done that. That's probably irresponsible, but I figure my actual brokerage is going to be what I live off of. But I do have, you know, substantial amount of money sitting in a traditional IRA that if I moved over, I'd have to pay a tax bill. Right,
Jordan, when you do that, you have an IRA, you have a rollover IRA, right? Right now,
no, I have nothing. I don't. Everything's just in brokerage accounts.
Oh, because we never.
Yeah, he was basically went from like an hourly wage earner to a company founder and multi-millionaire.
We never did that in eCarless, did we? We didn't have any retirement programs like any 401k or anything. But you could have done your own IRA back then. Shame on you, dude. You should you should have been doing that back then a little bit at least.
Yeah.
But you didn't really take much salary though. I guess I can't blame you.
Right.
You only took enough to live off of at that company.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense.
But I really want to do that. So that it would be great. It would be amazing if you were able to take your entire brokerage account and put it in an IRA. But there's where your limitation is, and you're not going to be able to do that. And at certain income levels, and there's all kinds of restrictions on how much you can contribute each year. But I do know for a fact that it's called like a backdoor or some. There's some term for it where you can convert your traditional IRA into a Roth IRA by just paying the taxes on it today instead of. And that's the other thing. In the future, when eventually you cash out of your traditional IRA, you're going to pay taxes at the future tax rate anyway. And if it grows there, to me, it just makes sense to do it, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, I really like if let's just say the Democrats win and they win the Senate, and it looks like we're going to have a pretty substantial tax hike that might be one or two of them over the next 4 years. I would consider before that tax hike goes in. I have about $1.1 million, $1.2 million, something like that in my, we have a couple different rollover IRAs that I've been saving in for a very long time, like 20 years. And I would consider moving those rollover IRAs into a Roth IRA, taking the tax hit, and then, you know, at least being tax-free in perpetuity on all the gains after that, because the assumption is, based on the way we're spending money as a country, regardless of what your political beliefs are, I think it's a pretty safe assumption that over the next 20 to 25, 30 years, which is pertinent for me at my age, I think taxes are going to substantially go up, and I'll be paying a lot more taxes 20 years from now, 25 years from now, in terms of as a percentage than I would today. So it's kind of like, yeah, Dave, you did those spreadsheets. At some point, we should do a standalone episode on this because it's interesting to see, are you better off taking the tax hit now? Like at what tax rate does it become better off? And I think we're headed towards like 50, 65% tax rates here over the next 20 years, at least at the highest income bracket. So I think it would be beneficial. By the way, Dave, someone asked what the Dumb Money theme song's name is. John Liu Chuchian on Discord. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's called Still Standing, and it's an artist. Basically, it's an artist that I got through a licensing production company that licenses music for use on the internet. But let me see if I can figure it. It's called Still Standing. It's a great song. There's a full vocal version of it. We use kind of part instrumental and the oohs and ahs version for the intro. But
Got it.
That's what that is.
Name of the theme song. I'm just going to tell.
Are you typing these answers instead of
I'm feel so guilty. I'm going to tell the Discord. We're going to have, if Leon's watching, like we're going to have to change Ask Dumb Money, I think, to like, I don't know if we close it down or we could just say, hey, we're going to do an Ask Dumb Money every week, maybe on Thursday. Like, we're going to do it live like this so we can just talk about it versus writing them down, because I get so stressed out trying to answer these questions, writing them down. But that one I want to answer for that guy.
We have like people who are way more aware of tax law than me. The Roth IRA, if you file taxes as a single person, your modified adjusted gross income must be under $137,000 for the tax year 2019 and under $139,000 for the tax year 2020.
But what is that to convert from a rollover to a Roth?
No, that's to be able to contribute new dollars to it. Now,
okay, new dollars. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We're not referring to new dollars. We were more focused on our existing. The question was about converting from our rollover IRA to a Roth IRA, not putting new dollars in. So that's why we were focused, not as concerned about our income levels.
What do you think about Seeking Alpha's article about YouTubers hyping Tesla? I haven't seen the article, but there are definitely YouTubers who talk a lot about Tesla. We talk about Tesla, but we're more investors than YouTubers.
I mean, obviously they're hyping it because they love it. They're fanboys, right? And they just, listen. I'm not. I mean, I joke saying like I'm kind of a quasi fanboy, Tesla fanboy now, and it's only because I like the big thinking that goes into these quantum leap advancements in, bringing new efficiencies to manufacturing and to EV technology. I think these things are super, super important, and I love that we have a company that's taking big risk and like breaking through barriers to do wonderful things. And I think that excites this new generation, and I think that's an okay thing. Like, you can argue valuation all day long, Jordan does, and I think he's right about a lot of the things he argues about when it comes to Tesla valuation. But people, they're excited about it. I think it's awesome when people are that excited about a company, about an investable company, right? Like, I think it's awesome. So
here's an Ask Me Anything question from Orlando Guy. Shout out from the beginning. He was watching my old channel, my current channel. Hey there, Dave here. So thanks. Here's his question. How's the restaurant, Chris? Any new menu items for the holidays, and just in general, how's the restaurant going?
We have a s'mores martini or something like that, and people are going insane. It's like, have you seen the pictures on Instagram, Dave, of this thing?
I have not yet, but that sounds amazing.
It has like marshmallow s'more smudge on the side of it, and it's like we'll have to pull a pic. It's all over the Instagram for Chelsea Corner Dallas. And we're doing. Thank you for asking. I don't want to say like we're doing really well, but we're doing really well in terms of we're breaking even.
Well, you're keeping it alive. You're keeping people employed, right? And those are important things right now. That's great.
To be breaking even is so amazing. Like we're right at like cash flow break even, meaning that we have full employment. I'm really proud to say that we're one of a handful of restaurants in our city that is abiding by all CDC guidelines. We are, there it is. We are keeping everybody 6 feet apart. We're rotating tables. So like we have an empty table between every regular table. We have a huge patio out back. Our kitchen staff wears masks all day, all night. Every waiter does. We are doing everything by the books. And what's really cool is that people appreciate it. And they're like going on Instagram and Yelp, and they're talking about how they feel safe at our restaurant, which I think was a good investment in our, saying, hey, we're going to do it the right way. So like all the people that want to be in a safe restaurant are coming, and we're breaking even, man. I don't think we're going to break even come November, December though. Cause that's like, that's when we get all of our normal big holiday parties, and we're not getting a whole lot of that this year.
You're not going to have that this year.
No way.
Well, and over at the bar that we have, the owner of both of these, Chris is involved with Lynn on one. I'm involved with Lynn on the other. Inwood Tavern has actually reopened. Texas basically shut down all bars, just kind of indefinitely, but they allowed restaurants to be open if you have more than 50% of your income coming from food. So we basically had to turn into a restaurant, and our food is made by an amazing pizza place just down the block, and we also have some items you can purchase in the restaurant. So we're open, doing the distancing thing, following the guidelines, doing the best we can, but it's just so hard to basically have to shut down just indefinitely, no plans to reopen, and then kind of realize, okay, we have to do something. We want to get people back to work. So that's what we did, and we're down year over year, as you might imagine, but we're doing what we can. If we weren't independently wealthy, we would basically have had to shut the doors, though. Like, and that's the sad truth for most bars and restaurants. Like, it's really hard to survive in that industry, even at like 80% capacity. Chris, I can only imagine your restaurant would have a hard time like breaking even at 80% capacity.
It would. We actually had a couple weeks when we did more. When the Stars were in the Stanley Cup that week, we did more revenue this year than we did last year. Not late night revenue. It's more like food, outdoor, just like people eating and stuff. But Jordan, I have a question for you. I'm curious what you're going to say. Like, I don't trade on price, so I'm going to give my answer. But Steinis Hojensbo, at what price would you get out of Piton? What's your answer, Jordan? And I'll chime in.
Man, I don't know. My average price right now, I guess, because I bought a third at like $30 and then the other 2/3 at like $70. So I don't know, man. As long as it stays above like $70 or $80, like I'm not that worried about it. I'm not trading that one on price right now, but I've got a really good margin of error in it too. So I'm just not even thinking about it.
But that shouldn't, Jordan, what you bought it for should have no impact on your future decisions.
No, it's a good point. I would say that if it was crashing really hard, I'd want to get out of it before I started losing money, though.
I know, but the fact that you could have bought it at $1 or $100.
No, I agree with that. That's why I said I'm not really looking to sell it right now, and I don't even look at the price day to day. So yeah, I'm not even looking at the price. I'm shocked it's at 114. I thought it was still around $100 because I'm on vacation. I'm not really paying attention to anything. So, but I love their story. I love that you're still able to work out from home right now. It's probably one of the only most people aren't going to the gym. I think it's still that aspirational. People want to be involved with that community, and so I'm still in it because of those things.
I think I'll say two things here. One, I think it's a type of company. I've been saying this since March. I think it's a Lululemon, Restoration Hardware, Apple, Tesla. It's the type Amazon. It's a type of aspirational, generational company that will always trade ahead of itself. And what that means is that the TAM is so large and the underlying business economics are so good, and people, as long as the story, as long as the narrative continues to get better over time, I will stay ahead of the narrative. And as long as I'm staying ahead of an improving narrative, I'm not planning on selling my Peloton. Now, as I'm ahead of the narrative,
I think that that narrative plays out as long as they're able to keep releasing new products that capture more market share, because I think, the bike's going to have a certain appeal to certain people. The tread's going to have a certain appeal to certain people, and they need to keep innovating to get new products in the home and then keep on building out that community across products.
Well, even more than that, Jordan, I feel like Peloton, to live up to this kind of generational vision that some people like myself have for the company, they need to continue to surprise us with and really just build on that just amazing connected brand image that by being part of Peloton, you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. Even if you live alone or, you feel that you have something in your home that connects you to the world in a way that is healthy and that is positive.
Well,
and
it
that's
does,
good.
right? My only issue with it is that right now you connect with these people through Facebook, right? And I feel like there needs to be stronger connection, software built into the actual platform itself. That's my only gripe with them right now, that they're relying on Facebook for that community building. But I still love the community aspect of Peloton.
And I think you're right, Jordan. I think if Peloton doesn't address that and improve on that over time, that's an issue. I will say this, though. I think there will become a point in time, and probably in the next 6 to 9 months, that we get we keep talking about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for the pandemic. At some point, it will hopefully happen. And when it does happen, it is a net negative for a bunch of stocks, Peloton being one of them, Zoom being another. It doesn't mean these aren't still amazing growth stories. It just means that there's a perception that it's bad when that happens. So whether it's real or not that it's bad doesn't even matter. The bottom line is there will be a pullback in all of those stocks. So getting ahead of that.
Specifically were people that, things that people associate with, like, being a winner because of the pandemic. So Zoom was a great technology, a great company, and then was thrown into the spotlight as a required essential piece of technology that everybody needs because of the pandemic. And then what happens when, like, all of a sudden everyone goes back to work and flying on planes and you actually see everyone in person? I think that they still have a very amazing business that will continue to thrive. And I think that the way people work is going to change. I think that we're going to have a little bit of a everlasting effect of the way people actually do business. And, companies like DocuSign and Zoom and people who are turning face-to-face and traditionally, in-person transactional kind of things into online electrified versions of their former selves. I think that those companies will continue to do well. But you're right. The perception is Zoom was a pandemic play. And so now that the pandemic is over, like, let's sell it. I just don't see it really happening that way.
Along those lines, here's another question from Marcus Lind. Why has Slack never been on your radar as a work-from-home trade? It feels like a similar simulation.
Been on yours, Jordan.
With Zoom and Microsoft. And I'll tell you, and I never traded it, but we have talked about it, Marcus. The biggest problem with Slack, I think it's the best product in that category. The problem is that they don't have that enterprise sales force that Microsoft has, and they're not already in a lot of these bigger Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft already is, and so Microsoft is winning some of that business a lot easier than Slack is. And so that's the reason that I'm not trading Slack, even though I love their product.
Yeah, I remember that. You spent a lot of time kind of focused on Slack earlier. I know it was earlier this summer or late spring, and even last year. We talk about it like once a year, and you're always looking at it. But guys, by the way, one more thing on Peloton. I always like to say this. When it comes to a company like Peloton, I want you to stretch your mind and really think about 200 years from now. I know that the world might not even be here 200 years from now, but if it is, okay, do you think 200 years from now, people are going someplace to get their physical health on? Or is that happening inside of where they reside? There's just no way. I don't care if it's virtual reality, whatever it is, they're doing that in their home, right? And I don't mean like 3 million people. I mean like 500 million to 1 billion people are doing some sort of in-home connected health fitness thing 200 years from now. So you could debate the degree to which we move in that direction. Will it take 200 years or will it take 20 or 10? That's debatable. But this whole concept of Peloton in-home fitness being a thing to hold to throw your laundry on, like old school exercise bikes, you're just not having the correct vision for how we as humans evolve and how technology evolves. It's going to happen. When you're betting on Peloton, you're betting that it's not 200 years, it's 20 years, and Peloton is one of 2 or 3 companies that are leading that whole revolution. The same way that Apple doesn't own the entire smartphone industry, but they help propel it forward and they own a big chunk of it, right? And so that's how you have to think when it comes to this massive sort of generational, like Amazon, that type of generational investment. And that's how I view Peloton, right? And just, I want to put that out there.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that is going to be the future is always going to be different, and you're going to have things like that adopted. I just don't like Peloton as a company, so I'm sticking with my not being a Peloton investor.
I can't do this with you today. I can't do it. Can't do it. Not going to.
Trying to trigger you.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's been a great stock so far. I'm proud of you.
So far. Okay, what else we got here? We got so much. How about are you guys, did you guys get in on Crocs with Bieber? The Bieber Crocs collab coming out?
I did not.
I did not. Although I don't know why. I feel like I don't have a good reason other than there are other things that I like better right now. I just didn't want to shift anything that I'm currently invested in, and I'm fully invested in the market, and so I just didn't have anything that I liked less.
Okay, so here's the thing. Because a bunch of people are asking about Crocs both on this chat and in Discord, and I think it's really important to understand that there are certain brands that kind of get it, and they're just set up for the future. They're set up for Gen Z, set up for younger millennials. They understand this world. We talked about the other day, Ocean Spray, right? Got very lucky with that TikTok, and they reacted really well. They bought the pickup truck for the guy who did the Ocean Spray skateboard video,
which, by the way, he's gotten a bunch of more pub for them too, and he's done a bunch more videos now with all that.
Totally.
Yeah. And then it's become a trend of people riding a skateboard and drinking Ocean Spray. And
did you see the guy riding the Heelys that I sent you guys on Instagram?
No, I didn't see that yet.
You're not on Instagram enough, Chris.
No, I am, but not on my personal Instagram. But I'll check that out. But you know how hard it is for a random brand that happened to be one of the worst brands in the world, by the way. Crocs, like literally, people bought them. They were literally the most made fun of thing, maybe in brand history.
People bought them to like garden and do yard work, and that's about it.
Yes. Do you know how impressive it is, Jordan, that over the last 24 months they have, and they're not stopping. That's the thing. Like, it's one thing to think, oh, they do a couple big brand collabs. It wasn't that fun. Remember 2018 when they did a couple big. They're not stop. They're actually doing it to the extent that it's like it's turning into one of the hottest brands. Like, if you're a celebrity, if you're a cool kid, if you're like whatever, like Crocs it's insane. The diversity of collabs that they have. I said the other day, like they must have a laundry list of the world's most influential people on a wait list.
Here's what I don't understand, though. I still haven't actually seen somebody wearing Crocs in public, so I just don't visualize it, so I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, but how many people do you see in public though in your life? Like, we're not really, public is just going on Instagram and TikTok and seeing what people are wearing, and there's a lot of people proud to sport their stupid looking Crocs.
Going on Instagram is the new going in public. That's
yeah, actually, I know. That's what I'm trying to say.
Weird.
No, it's wild. So yeah, I doubled down on Crocs. Yeah, I'm proud of it. And listen, I don't know when the end of that social arb trade is going to be. I'm in and out of Crocs all the time, but right now I feel like the market. How do you fully appreciate a brand that's becoming one of the hottest trends in the world? Like that, how do you put a price on that? And by the way, a product that costs next to nothing to make too. I'm telling you, dude, I'm really, it's an interesting storyline, and I don't know where it's going. It's not a high conviction trade for me, but I would say it's a solid low to medium.
Yeah.
I mean, their stock is just on fire.
And it deserves to be. It deserves it. Anyway, let's take a look here. What else? We got so many questions.
Just a few more though, because we're now an hour in.
Fine.
We're short. We're just going to jump.
I'm on vacation, so I might bail.
I know. We'll get off in a minute. I promise. Let me just look here. Let's take a look. Someone's talking about Napa Sonoma wineries are canceling their 2020 harvest due to fire damage.
Yeah, they just had crazy fires up there, right? Is Napa still burning?
It got burnt really bad, dude. Yeah. Again, they're saying, is there a trade there? Like they said, my friend, an upscale wine shop owner, is doubling his orders for 2019 vintage in anticipation of this. Well, this happened before, so we can kind of look to the last time this happened. I don't recall there being a lot of big, obvious trades. So you really have to be careful. Anytime you try to execute on a social arb trade based on a change that's happening in our culture, it could be geographic change or disaster, anything. The best thing to do is to look in the past at something similar, and we could look at the exact same thing happened. How many years ago, guys?
It was like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking so hard for trades there, and it wasn't really straightforward. There weren't a lot of obvious trades that played out from that. So I don't really have a clean answer. It's not like, hey, go long the wineries because now everyone's going to buy up. The ones that you can make a case that the wineries that survive will do better, right? Because they'll sell out everything they have at a premium, because the wineries that didn't survive means there's less supply. So if you're one of the ones that do survive, you're in better shape. That would take a lot of legwork to figure out if that's the case. And if so, if you're investing. And the other problem is, guys, these wine companies are part of really big beverage companies now. So it's not like just a few wine SKUs are going to move the needle for a global $50 billion beverage company, right?
Well,
so
the big guys like that are buying grapes from all over the place too, right? They're not just limited to that local supply. It's all the independent guys that are really getting hammered, and the grape suppliers that get hammered. Things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Nolan says that I'm just being stubborn for not buying Peloton, because
you are being stubborn, Dave. We're not going to argue today about, but you are being. It's a stubborn thing. I know you.
You should have just bought it when it dropped to 75. I was talking to Chris about this, and I'm like, my plan is if it hits $75, after it ran up to 85 or so, then I'm gonna pull the trigger and buy. I'm gonna triple my position. That was the time.
Oh, guys, we do need to talk about this one stock, Pedro. Goose, Canada Goose, because Pedro, by the way, it's Money Talk with Pedro Talerico. So I have been thinking about this Goose trade the entire time it's been going up, because I've traded Goose every single winter since the company was public. Yeah. And honestly, we missed a big move, but I didn't miss it. I just couldn't figure it out, because I know that Goose on one hand is like an outdoor trade for this winter, and outdoor trades were really big this summer. So you can make a case that, well, Goose is an outdoor trade for the winter because it's like super. But the other half of that, it's also like a super high-end style trade. So in my mind, I've been thinking, why would someone want to spend $2K for a jacket or $1,500 for a jacket if they're not going to get to like go all around town and wear it and stuff? But then you can make another case that if they are going around town, they're sitting outdoors on a patio under a propane heater, and they want to have a big jacket on, and so they're going to like show the one way they can show off their style and their wealth. I don't know why people do this stuff. It is to like have a really cool jacket. So I've been debating that in my head, and quite honestly, I couldn't figure it out. And the market is obviously leaning towards no, like Goose is going to be a big trade this winter, and I'm not in it. But what do you guys think? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I missed it. I was actually looking at it about 2 months ago and really wanted to get into it. Since I've been on vacation, man, this thing's just been skyrocketing.
But you know what? Goose is, I pulled up a G trend on it, and I also pulled up, I do have a web stats data, guys, now for September. So if any of y'all want me to pull web stats, just let me know, and we should get on here tomorrow and pull a bunch of web stats for people. Like if you guys want to pull year over year web traffic data for the month of September, I have that, and I'll share it here tomorrow. So just kind of when we're back on tomorrow, come on with your questions on what web stat. If you want me, just send them to us, right? And I'll have them ready to go tomorrow. But the data doesn't look amazing for Goose yet, and in fact, even like winter, I think I pulled up something like winter.
Fall. I mean, it's still early, right? I mean, it's not really
early, Jordan, but the earliest indicators aren't like super exciting. Yeah. Oh, and another thing on top of that, people were asking about Party City and Michael's about Halloween, and I pulled the G Trends chart right here. It's actually on right now. I pulled a G trend on Halloween, on costume, just the word costume, because I was curious. And it actually is down a little bit year over year. And I was kind of surprised because if you're buying a costume, you're likely searching for it online. So I would just think that searches are going to be up, even if costume sales aren't up, because it's going to shift to online sales. So I don't know, guys. Like, I feel like
0% chance my family does Halloween in any,
Okay, so like that's interesting, Jordan, because like my family is doing like this. My wife does every
totally
but we're doing it safely. Like my kids are getting costumes and like they have this whole thing worked out when like our yard shut off, but we're gonna be throwing candy and they're doing a bicycle thing. But it's all socially distanced. But they do have costumes. But do you think less costumes or more costume, or what do you think? Less, right?
It's got to be less. It's got to be less because there's going to be some portion that the family's like, what, we're just not gonna do it this year.
Yeah. Although costumes, I can see even if you don't go door to door trick or treating, you might still have a costume just because it's a tradition. It's something you do. It's that picture you want every year. So I
can tell you what though, there's going to be less costume parties, less people going out to the bars and doing costume scenes. So just that like young adult portion is definitely going to be less.
But doesn't it weirdly? But Jordan, doesn't it seem like this is the one year that this is the one thing you could do this year and go to a bar and like have a mask on.
A mask would be totally normal.
Right? It'd be totally normal. So like, don't you think like some people will
be going to go to a bar and wear a mask because then you can't drink. And so like, why go?
True.
I think it's
true. And then by the way, but you know what I think is interesting? Have you seen the front of my house, guys? Ridiculous. Like my wife went crazy. We have got like a whole Halloween village in the front of our house. Are people going to go
usual?
Bigger, way bigger than usual? Are people going over the top with decorating because one, they're stuck at home. Two, if you do have a job, you have excess budget to spend on that versus traveling and restaurants and stuff, right? Because we've seen that all year pretty much. Like maybe that helps Michael's in Party City. I don't really know. I know that tall, the skeleton at Home Depot, that $200 skeleton, hottest thing of the year, that's sold out. Like the 20-foot skeleton sleeping in her house. That's sold. So I don't know. Like I don't have a definitive answer on that yet at all. Hey, do you guys have any thoughts? Someone just asked Sina thoughts on Open Door. There's that Open Door SPAC that Chamath did. What do you think about that?
I haven't looked into it enough.
I haven't looked into it, so I don't know.
I do think that the trend is towards doing the technological version of everything from home sales to, so like, what are the other ones?
I feel like it's very like limited. Like I think they're probably having an awesome year this year, but post pandemic, like Open Door, like it seems like a trailer brand. It's just not a leading brand for that.
Yeah. Like who are the others? Redfin is in that space. Who are the others? Even that is that Compass company.
The Compass is private, right?
Yeah.
Again, Zillow, but they're not really.
But they could SPAC it up. I mean, this is the year to if you're gonna go public by SPAC, this is the time to do it.
YOLO.
Guys,
I'm gonna run because my family.
Go ahead. One more thing, Dave.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Jordan. Man, it looks awesome there, dude. It looks awesome.
Great. I love you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on, dude. Now I lost my train of thought here. Too many comments. Sorry, guys. I'm looking through to find one I wanted to talk about. Oh, TCS web stats. I'm sorry. I thought I did. I posted that on Discord, guys. It's up 67% September. The Container Store is up 67% year over year for September, which is better than it was in August. August was up 55% year over year. So they showed an increased year over year web traffic in September over August. That was the one I did post on Discord.
It would almost be impossible for them not to have gone up, right? From what we've seen, store visits and things like that.
Totally.
TCS.
And expectations are up so much, guys. It's like, it's hard to say, like, is that better or worse than expectations on Container Store right now? And that's why I started exiting that position, quite honestly. What else here? Hold on, guys. There's some really good stuff in here. Why are people saying American Southwest? What's going on American Southwest? I mean, talked about that earlier. Are they starting to move again on this Pelosi softening? No, they're about where they were. Planet 13, I have no thoughts on. Isn't that cannabis store in Vegas? I think it's like a penny stock. Sorry, guys. It's just like I'm not. It's just too small.
There's a lot of letters in the ticker symbol, so it must be a penny stock.
Yeah, no, I've looked at it before. It's like a store. It's like a cannabis store in Vegas. I don't really see it.
We need to read Open Door discussions over in Discord too.
Okay, I will follow up on Open Door. I promise. On Discord, guys, I will definitely do that. Yes. So Kamala Harris said they will decriminalize cannabis. Cannabis is an interesting trade. We haven't talked about it in a long time, Dave. Yeah. But it really is. Assuming a Biden win and a Senate win, okay? What if cannabis, Dave, gets nationally decriminalized? What also if the banking program opens up and they allow banks, they're looking at this right now, they allow banks to work with cannabis providers. Don't you think, I mean, without having to make a long call pick on cannabis, a short-term pick, it should be part of our election portfolio for Biden, Dave, don't you think?
I think it absolutely should be. Along with it should be another one of our green stocks, just a different kind of green.
And it's the one I haven't bought yet. You know, like I'm not.
We invested in a cannabis startup in Canada and had a good experience with it, and then we held on too long, or at least I know I did. But yeah, it is a sector that I think, if you think about, like you're saying, if you look at the long-term horizon for things, 200 years from now, do you think that anyone's going to care about cannabis as being a crime? No.
No. And I think it's a really nice Biden election move. By the way, someone just mentioned, and I confirmed it, that as I anticipated, decorations, just the word decorations on G Trends is up the last week to 2 weeks, year over year. I didn't even check Halloween decorations because it doesn't really matter. Decorations is up. So that would be a net positive, probably for Michaels, probably for Party City. Although, quite honestly, guys, Party City's really heavy with like costumes, like especially around Halloween. So if I wanted to play decorations and I want to try to arb that, assuming that you can come up with a thesis, test the thesis, and you really thought decorations had a tailwind this year, I would probably lean towards Michaels. Wouldn't you say, Dave?
Over Party City?
Yeah. Michaels has a very small, I think, smaller costume section. Party City has a huge costume section. So if you think costumes, or like if you think people rushing out to get their Halloween costumes for parties, that's what really fills that store up around the month of October. You know, like
compared to decor, like Party City has, I don't think of them as like the larger front yard decor kind of things. I think of Amazon as all of this stuff, really, though. Like from
well, it is, Dave, but it's not a pure play, so it's really hard to kind of narrow down on a pure play there. Someone's saying Party City's in trouble. Party City's dead. Listen, we had a great trade earlier this year on Party City, and that came straight out of our Discord community. It was a killer trade. I haven't traded it since then. I've been out. They've been kind of, flat-ish since then. It doesn't really matter what you think about Party City, the company, when you're talking about a short-term social arb trade based on an anomaly of demand or lack of demand for a very particular trade window and quarter, right, guys? So you got to kind of like separate the two. I'm not buying the pen dip. I'm help causing the pen dip. I sold off part of my pen this week, and I'm thinking about selling a little more. Why? It's what I've always said. I'm nervous about, Dave, what do we say? Schools are going to shut down. and sports are going to potentially shut down. It's not like a guarantee, but that's our thesis. And our thesis was somewhere between mid-October and mid-November, that is going to happen. And I just saw a report today that more New York schools were shutting down today. I think this is just the beginning. I think as we get closer to Thanksgiving, that's when it really gets ugly. And I think that's a net negative for DraftKings, lesser degree, Penn, lesser degree, GAN. And I have lightened up on my GAN. I have lightened up on my Penn. I kind of want to get back into Penn once we're over that, like we're through this period. So don't even ask me about MTN, guys. I do not, no way. I haven't figured it out. I'm working on it. The thing that I hate about CNBC and Jim Cramer is when people can throw out a stock and he has opinion, like a high conviction opinion about everything. I feel really good about a very few number of things, and everything. Like, I'm not going to have an opinion on MTN. I'm not there yet. I'm studying these things. I don't have. It's really hard, guys. It's really hard to figure out a social arb trade on Vail Resorts, right? Because Vail Resorts, you can make a positive case for it. You can make a negative case for it. I've been debating it in my head for like 6 weeks now, and I haven't come to a decision. But I think that should be a great debate to have in Discord. Like, I would love to. In fact, I'm going to try to spend some time the next couple of days on Discord. I would love to see what people are saying positively and negatively about Vail Resorts. Maybe it'll help move me in one way or the other.
Hey, Chris, we might actually need to look into this Planet 13 because our social arb chart reading expert Nolan is saying that he likes it, searching for Planet 13 stock and also Planet 13 minus stock. So that's something to look at. And according to Corey, it is his top recommendation because they announced record revenues, up 37%, only with their only superstore being in Las Vegas for the moment.
Man,
and Evil Genius says you can blaze your way to big gains.
Who said that?
Evil Genius.
I'll look at it, guys.
Someone else said your money's gonna go up in smoke. But people are researching Planet 13 stock more than a search that is just Planet 13. So people are thinking of this as an investment.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not super into it, but I'll check. I'll spend a minute checking it out. So Andrew Castaneda, are you still liking the airlines? I'm just not trading them either way. I mean, I'm just not. It's a government thing at this point. I'm only going to trade the airlines if I think I have a fast trade, advantage on some announcement that's about to be made, like I did this morning. And for those of y'all that weren't watching earlier in this episode, that was the big trade of the day. My American Airlines short. I was in and out of it in 15 minutes, and it was a nice 20K gain on a 30K risk. So, all right, Dave, we answered a good, decent number of questions, dude. Right? That's good. Look, can we do this every week? Can we just have a dedicated Ask Dumb Money that we can kind of roll through 30, 40 questions?
I think if people like that, they should hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. They should tap that heart button in Twitter. They should do whatever you do in Facebook or wherever.
Wait, are we on YouTube right now too? I thought we were just doing Twitter.
We're on YouTube. Oh, remember our we had an email about this yesterday.
Okay,
so
yeah, you're right.
It's a completely unannounced, no special thumbnail, no clickbaity title. So we're just going to see. But people showed up. We had 800 viewers on.
You know what I think is really important here before we go to do this is something that I've been doing today. I've been looking on days like this. I kind of want to see what the news flow is and what the sentiment is in terms of the election sentiment, and I want to see how certain stocks are reacting. And it's interesting here that there are some stocks that are acting better than others. It looks like, where is it? TAN. I don't know if it's still reacting good. But TAN is one of my Biden stock picks, and TAN has been really strong. It's now down for the day, but it was up most of the day. I think it's really interesting just to look at performance here to understand how it's important to understand how certain sectors and individual tickers react to certain types of news, so that in the future, when you're running scenarios, you understand how you're going to trade those scenarios, right? Like it's something that's really, really important. And it's something that I do every single day. Dave, my mind is blown that booking.com is up again today, $10. That short trade, which is my number one short trade by like a mile, it's like 10 times bigger than any other short I have, is destroying. It's killing me. I don't know what people are doing right now. But
for the people who have stuck with us to the end, just tell us what you think about us doing this. So we've had some feedback that people would love for us to do these kind of just unstructured shows on YouTube, but others like Jonosapi, it's hard to pronounce the screen names. I enjoy your content, but honestly, like your predetermined topic live shows a little bit better. And that's what we don't want to screw up our YouTube channel by doing these kind of just unannounced, unstructured shows. We don't care if we screw up Twitter, because that's kind of what Twitter is just people like throwing the random ideas out from, whatever they think. But let us know, because that will kind of shape the direction of what we do. If we're going to do something every single day on the internet, let us know where you'd like to watch it. I know that people were saying yesterday that they liked YouTube better because they can watch the archive in fast forward mode, where you can like watch it at 2.5 times speed, or 1.5 or 2 times speed. And it makes it just like you can also do that with a podcast. So it's like, is that what you want? What's the best format?
Yeah. All right. So we have work to do. I need to actually catch up on Discord. I want to see what ideas people have in there. I have time to do some research.
For sure. Q&A is great. Love all your content. Keep it going. But Twitter is fine. Twitter's great. These are people watching on Twitter. So I think we definitely need to be on Twitter.
Twitter's easy, right? Like we just don't want to mess up the YouTube channel. So where you guys don't know when the structured show is versus a random show like today.
And we do have our next structured show scheduled. It's going to be, is it Tuesday?
Tuesday
for the
Apple.
Big announcement of the iPhone 12. And this is it. No, this is not an iPhone 12. I don't have the 12 yet. I have every other model, but we are going to be giving away an iPhone 12, assuming that the iPhone 12 gets announced and assuming that the stock price goes up during the announcement video.
By one penny.
Those are the two things we're looking for. Yeah, it doesn't have to kill it. And really what we're going to do is like, we're going to look at the stock price when when they start the thing. We're just going to look at what the price is. And if it's trading up during the thing, like I guess it could even trade back down later, right?
It could. Listen, I thought Dave, you were going to take the stock price when the event starts and then when the event ends. That's like the best way to do it. That way with a whole show, it has the whole show to make it.
How about from when it starts until when we're just ready to give away the phone? Like that'll be after they've done all their stuff and we'll give away the phone at the end.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that'll be at the end of the event. So yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah, and that way, if it even goes up 1 penny, we'll give away an iPhone 12 to somebody. And the cool thing is, not everybody can even have a Peloton. Some people already have Pelotons, and everybody can use an iPhone 12. So that will be fun, man. I can't wait. This is Dave's big day of the year. This is the biggest day of the year for Dave. Quite honestly,
it is. It's kind of events, and they're going to be. We think that this one's going to be live from the Steve Jobs stage in Cupertino, but we don't know. It could be a pre-produced, recorded thing. We know that they're going to have some really neat shots of the phone, like doing spins and like super close-ups of it, and we're going to see if it has 4 cameras or 3. We're going to see if it has. We know it's going to have LiDAR. It's going to have at least 3 cameras. But is it in a square configuration, or is it the triangle with a little one out of place? There's just so many questions. We are expecting it to be back to this kind of design where the edges are banded so that it basically looks like the old iPhone 4 and the new iPad. So that we're expecting that. So that's exciting.
And by the way, guys,
expecting those AirTags or whatever they're calling them, with the basically the little location device things that you can stick on things to have the like the Find My iPhone feature. You can now find my anything.
Someone's asking, do they need to retweet something? Yes, there will be a tweet maybe today, like if we have the edit ready today, so it might be later this afternoon. You just need to retweet it, and as soon as you retweet it, as long as you're following us on YouTube too, you'll go right into the system, and it just gets the winner gets automatically output from the software that Dave uses.
Yeah.
So
they're asking if even Europeans can compete. Yes, if you retweet, you're in the running for this. Basically, if you're in a country where we can ship an iPhone and it actually works for you, you're qualified. And if not, we'll have to find a backup winner. But we're definitely assuming there is a phone, assuming the stock goes up, we're definitely going to be giving away a phone.
Guys, I am, just to let you know, I'm down $243,000 today on my account. So it is an ugly day, but that's okay. We've had a lot of good days the last week. So yeah.
Yes, the guy did get his Peloton that we gave away on the
yes, we're gonna show his pics. He tweeted them out. I think we're gonna retweet them.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we should. I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, we'll retweet those pics out. That's it, man. All right, I'm gonna go, Dave. This has been fun.
All right, this has been fun. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure you subscribe to all the places we are. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you get all of that juicy video content all the time. You can subscribe to my other channel, Hey There Dave here. You can listen to our podcast. Should we put this on as a podcast too, and like yesterday's too, or is that too random?
Yes, totally. Why not?
More work for me. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok and Twitch, and we're at Dumb Money TV on all of those. You can join us on our Discord server, dumbmoney.tv. Go there. You can get links to all of the great places that you can follow us. Keep the conversations going wherever you're watching. And thank you so much for watching. And I have to find the button. We're using different software, so I don't have like my shortcut buttons. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, which will be tomorrow.